Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo 64 emulation with RMG, where RMG stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Rosalie's Mupen GUI, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Anyways here, Rosalie's Mupen GUI just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Rosalie's Mupen GUI version 0.8.6 is the latest update. And in this update, there's a whole bunch of fixes and some brand new stuff. So they've added icons here to the cheats dialog, the context menu of the ROM browser, the settings dialog, and the options dialog in RMG input. They've added swap set and else setting to RMG input GCA. And they've added auto-configure feature to RMG input. If you are interested in RMG and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. Moving on, and we're going up a few generations here and talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Eden. And Eden seems poised for a brand new update. At the time of filming here, they're saying version 0.0.4 release candidate 1 is releasing very soon, like this weekend. Now, from my understanding, there's a lot of eyes on this one from people wondering if this is going to include better Snapdragon 8 Elite performance. We'll have to wait and see. And speaking about stuff up on Reddit emulation on Android, next up here, we're talking about GameHub Lite. Now, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding GameHub Lite recently. One with the accusations that it's an AI-coded program and should be avoided. And the second thing was the fake GameHub Lite website popping up and people were downloading fake APKs from it. So for those who may be unaware, both GameHub and GameHub Lite are Windows emulators on Android. GameHub Lite is an unofficial fork of GameHub. And they say here, complete privacy-focused modification of the GameHub Android app. This project removes all tracking, authentication, and bloat while adding an automated patcher for future updates. And this is meant to be a little bit more private and without requiring an account. Now, we've talked about GameHub Lite in previous videos, and from my understanding, GameHub Lite is absolutely fine. Could be wrong with that one, but I don't think so. Anyways here, it appears that the moderators over at Reddit Emulation on Android have taken a look at the app and have verified that it's fine. So take this statement for what it's worth. They say the Reddit Emulation on Android mod team has reviewed GameHub Lite and endorses it as a viable option for the community. What was verified here? We decompiled the APK, reviewed the code changes, and tested basic functionality. The modifications match what's documented in the technical analysis. However, they do say use at your own risk, and I would agree with that. Anything that's not technically on the Google Play Store, even some stuff that's on the Google Play Store, does pose a risk when it doesn't go through the proper security checks, so that is worth noting. However, it's also worth pointing out that the actual version of GameHub is also not on the Google Play Store. The main version of GameHub is made by GameSir, and it's been exploding in popularity. And if you wanted to learn more about it, the official website for it will be in the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. And for GameHub Lite, there's only one location for it right now, and that is up on GitHub. And the link for that, if you wanted to learn more about it, will also be in the GitHub link below. At the time of filming, GameHub Lite Release V2 is the latest and greatest version of GameHub Lite. Right on their GitHub page, they do have a link to their Discord and even more information about this. And on a side note to that, taking a look at the photos provided on their GitHub page, it does seem that GameHub Lite performs a little bit better than GameHub Original. They took a look at Tomb Raider here. For the minimum FPS on GameHub Original, it's 22.2, as opposed to the much higher 26.5 on GameHub Lite. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. And if you've used GameHub and GameHub Lite, which one do you prefer? And speaking about seeing stuff posted on Reddit, next up we're talking about the opposite, not seeing stuff posted on Reddit. So there is a reported outage right now for AWS that is affecting Reddit as well as some games like Fortnite and Palworld and Roblox. Based on my understanding, it's a DNS related problem and services should be restored at some point in time. I guess it's the US East 1 region. And speaking about sites with issues, but shifting to something arguably a little bit more serious, or a lot more serious, we're talking about Xubuntu or Xubuntu. And if you downloaded Xubuntu over the weekend, you may want to double check what you downloaded. It's being reported that the Xubuntu website was compromised and served malware downloads. This report is up on OMG Ubuntu if you wanted to read more into it and get more details on the matter. But it says here the site was compromised on October 18th and 19th for the official .torrent file of the XFCE distro. They also state, though, that there is no indication that the direct Xubuntu ISO downloads were modified, but just to be safe, if you did download anything from that website over the weekend, it's probably best to just get rid of it and download something fresh. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. Next up, we're switching from Linux to Windows and talking about the ROG Ally and Ally X. And this is a very interesting rumor that Microsoft is allegedly working on Xbox emulation for ROG Ally handhelds. I'll believe it when I see it. One of the biggest criticisms I've seen about the Asus ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X is that they don't play actual Xbox games, and the products themselves can be a little bit misleading for people not familiar with the gaming space. Anyways, here it is being reported that Xbox is working on Xbox and Xbox 360 compatibility for these devices. Now, to be honest with you, I have not seen confirmation of this anywhere, and I wouldn't really hold my breath for this to be released or developed anytime soon. I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to Xbox and Xbox 360 emulation for Windows officially. For now, we have Xemu and also Xenia. And speaking about handhelds and emulation, next up we're talking about the Miyoo Mini Flip. Now, the Miyoo Mini Flip is the latest and arguably greatest product from Miyoo, depending on how you look at it. TechDweeb has a brand new video up on YouTube, and it's one of the first I've seen. I've seen a few different prices quoted for this thing, but TechDweeb is quoting it at $65 overall. And taking a look here, this does look like a really interesting device. Is it better than the Miyoo Mini? I would say yes and no. I mean, if you want a flip device and you like the Miyoo Mini, this may be up your alley. If you don't like flip devices, then the Miyoo Mini still may be the way to go. It's also being reported that Onion OS works on this device. Now, taking a look at this from my point of view between this and the Miyoo Mini, I may be more inclined to pick up the Miyoo Mini because it's even smaller than this device. And from my understanding, they play the exact same games. Let me know your thoughts, though, about the Miyoo Mini Flip compared with the Miyoo Mini and, I guess, other flip devices. Is this up your alley? And speaking about handheld devices, next up we're talking about smartphones and Hollow Knight Silksong. So some people have been playing Hollow Knight Silksong through stuff like Winlator and GameHub and GameHub Lite. And it seems someone beat the game using touch controls, and this is very impressive in my opinion. I've seen people beat Celeste with touch controls, but Hollow Knight Silksong, let me know your thoughts about this one. There's not a whole lot to this news piece, just something I found very interesting. And speaking about interesting stuff, next up we're talking about Final Fantasy VII running on a bunch of different systems here. And Square Enix of all YouTube channels has posted a brand new video showcasing the game running on the Switch 2, the Xbox Series X, the PS5, and the PC. And surprisingly here, the Switch 2 is doing pretty good. Now, overall, the game appears to be locked at 30 FPS, but at the same time, this is very impressive for the Switch 2. Now, the comments for this video appear to be turned off, so unfortunately, I cannot see the reactions to the video right on YouTube. I'm guessing, though, at 60 FPS, the differences would become far more apparent. And on PC, the whole modding scene, well, that's something else entirely. And speaking about games that look good, next up here, we're talking about a brand new homebrew game titled Sugar Ghouls. And listen to this announcement. I emerged from underground to bring you my new 3D Halloween platformer I've been working on nearly nonstop for the last 2 weeks. It's got pumpkins, it's got goblins, but most importantly, it has Ghost Kid. Sugar Ghouls is made for Windows. It's currently up on itch.io for name your own price. And if you're interested, feel free to check it out. And interestingly here, it's part of Scream Jam 2025. So if you're into homebrew stuff, if you're into interesting things, and you're into scary and spooky games, you might be a fan of Scream Jam 2025. Scream Jam 2025 is currently underway and there are a lot of submissions. Now, by a lot of submissions, I truly mean a lot of submissions, not like 50 or 100. There's closer to 1,000 here. At the time of filming, 994 entries are up on itch.io. And again, like everything we talk about, links are within the GitHub link below. There's quite a bit in here, and who knows, maybe you'll find your new favorite game. And speaking about recent releases, next up here we're talking about gaming on Linux with GE Proton, where GE stands for Glorious Egg Roll, and something else I just can't quite put my finger on it. Anyways, if you game on something like the Steam Deck, GE Proton is something you should be paying attention to. So for those of you with a Steam Deck, or for those of you who game on Linux, I'd highly recommend checking out GE Proton and becoming familiar with it. Sometimes GE Proton gets games up and running that regular Proton doesn't. GE Proton is an experimental fork of Proton, a custom fork of Proton. And for example, I use this to get Dragon Ball FighterZ up and running on my Steam Deck. So with this latest update to GE Proton, there's an update to a whole bunch of different stuff here, like Wine, which has been updated to Bleeding Edge. DXVK has been updated, and VKD3D has been updated. And speaking about experimental versions of Proton, next up we're talking about the official experimental version of Proton, Proton Experimental. And Proton Experimental also got a brand new update with a bunch of fixes. So with this update, Dune Awakening no longer shows GPU driver warning. Lost Planet Extreme Condition is playable again. Gods Arena Online is now registering touch mouse input correctly. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 crashing has been fixed. And on top of that, they fixed Age of Empires Definitive Edition cursor desync issues on Steam Decks. They've fixed Assassin's Creed Shadow not being playable after a recent game update. And even more stuff in here. And continuing to talk about new releases, next up here we're talking about Mario Adventure 2, which is an SM64 hack that just released. So there's a brand new release trailer available on YouTube that is very interesting. They say experience Sonic Adventure 2 levels as Mario in a new thrilling ROM hack. Fully N64 console compatible and optimized for blazingly smooth gameplay. Let me know your thoughts about this ROM hack in the comments below in this Sonic Adventure 2 and Mario mashup. And speaking about stuff that looks pretty good, next up here we're talking about photography and lost photos. Now, for those who may or may not be aware, I go camping quite a bit on this YouTube channel, and a lot of people seem to be very happy with a lot of the scenery that I showcase. Anyways here, I know the photographer, and Lost Photos takes a bunch of great photos. So Mrs. Sujano and I have been camping quite a few times with the people behind Lost Photography, and a lot of these photos are from places we've visited. For example, this one here is from Arrowhead Provincial Park, which I've recorded videos from. Brian shares quite a few of his photos and eventually wants to make this hobby a dream job. And taking a look here, I mean, if you're a fan of wildlife and fluff, you might be a fan of some of these photos, so I'll drop links to the Facebook page and Instagram page in the description below in the GitHub link so you can take a look. Now, the main reason I'm showing this is because I get a lot of requests for more camping photos and videos, and unfortunately, I don't take a whole lot of stuff. So taking a look here, hopefully this will satisfy what you're looking for if you're interested in wildlife and camping and some other stuff. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, except the fluff that you might have just seen in the previous segment. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.